Hello, and welcome to Ms. PM Reads Christian Content, where we are continuing with Abscond by G.G. Wagner. And in our last video, Lyzee is living with Mark and Gwen, who are Rory's parents, and it's Christmas time, so they are decorating and going to get a Christmas tree. The farm buzzed with activity. Lyzee inhaled, trying to decipher the smells, a game Rory had made up. With your eyes closed, guess as many as you can, and whoever had the most got to pick out the tree. Mark and Gwen grabbed for her hands, forming a circle, their eyes squeezed tight. On your mark, get set, go, Mark said. Their voices blended in confused syllables and laughter that lasted at least a minute or two, until all had been named. Certain they had let her win, Lyzee peeked out at them and smiled. They followed the arrows, leading them across a field decked out with decorations and spectacular light displays. In the distance, Lyzee spotted the red and orange glow coming from a fire pit and moved Gwen and Mark in that direction. She watched a group of 5 shuffle from their seats while ghost-like wisps of smoke pursued them mercilessly. Excitement bubbled up into Lyzee's eyes as she tugged on Gwen's sleeve. Looks like they're leaving, she announced. Speakers overhead blasted Kelly Clarkson's Underneath the Tree, and Lyzee settled on a log stump between Gwen and Mark. She positioned the puff securely. Oh, they're doing marshmallows. Okay. She positioned the puff securely on the end of her stick and held it just above the flames. While the fire crackled and popped, 2 younger girls took the empty seats on either side of the pit. She guessed they were probably around 11 or 12, full of giggles and whispers that made her heart ache for Rory. If you're not careful, all this will be gone, Lyzee whispered silently. Lyzee, your marshmallow is on fire, Mark said as he took the stick from her hand. She trailed behind the Coopers, still not able to shake the sadness. They passed a line of people a mile long, waiting at a brightly painted shed. That's where we'll pick our tree up after it's cut, Mark announced. Gwen and Mark walked hand in hand ahead of her, and she lingered while they turned the corner. Lyzee picked a path a few rows over and walked on fresh fallen snow that was still undisturbed. Cold air stirred as a pack of excited kids charged from between a row of pines. Their contagious, lingering shrieks helped to lift Lyzee from her melancholy, if only briefly. At the next turn, she came upon a tree displayed with paper angels. And with the thought of the past so vivid, her hand shook as she removed one of the names to read, just like she'd done that first time she was here with Rory. Elizabeth, age 11, it had read. Rory had stood by her side, busy pilfering through the branches to find the perfect one. And that is when Lyzee had stuffed the paper into her pocket. Unbeknownst to her, the man at the table had been watching. She remembered the berating, and her face flushed hot with heat. Can I help you, ma'am? The memory stung as her eyes reacted. She breathed in the cold air. The iciness chased away the tears, and she found her voice. I'm still looking. Lyzee turned back to the tree and plucked another piece of paper from the branches. These 2, please, she said. From her peripheral vision, she saw Mark and turned to greet him, not quite able to remove the pained expression from her face. A penny for your thoughts, Rory. I'm sorry. Let me try that again, Mark said. That's okay. I can't stop thinking about her. I miss her. Lyzee turned her face away. She didn't want to bring Mark down, and that's when she saw Gwen. She approached with a rather lanky boy in tow. He wore a Santa hat and carried a chainsaw. Gwen began to speak before she could be heard. but with the exaggerated movement of her mouth, Lyzee could make out, "I hope you got our tree picked." She pointed over her shoulder, grinning the whole way. Mark measured one last time before he stepped out of the way for the boy to start up the saw. In a matter of a few minutes, the tree, which Lyzee picked post haste, had been chopped and fed through the netting machine. The smell of fresh pine lingered on her clothes, and she hoped it never went away. On the ride back, Lyzee formulated her plan. She would help get the tree up and then slip back upstairs before the ornament boxes were opened. If she used the excuse of being tired, she wouldn't be lying. The Coopers needed privacy, whether they wanted to admit it or not. "We really wish you would stay up," Gwen pleaded. "You can pick the Christmas movie while Mark lights the fireplace, and I'll get our snack." Lyzee pulled up the menu and made her choice. It's a Wonderful Life, a safe choice, but a little ironic, she thought. Gwen bustled into the room and set a tray filled with goodies on the table and opened a box marked ornaments, giving Lyzee an optimistic look. "It won't take long to decorate the tree, and I was really hoping you could help me with Rory's ornaments. It would mean so much." The Christmas tree, bleh, goodness. Sometimes my mouth moves more than my thoughts, or maybe it's the other way around. The Christmas tree stood majestic, filling the entire space in front of the window. The lights twinkled, emitting a happy calm around the room. The boxes, now empty, ready to be carried back downstairs, laid in a pile. Lyzee grabbed the fuzzy blanket from the basket and settled into the recliner, her eyes swollen and her heart full. Gwen left a plate of cookies and a glass of milk on the table next to her. The fire crackled and images of the perfect happy family flickered on the TV screen, only to be rivaled by this moment. With a gentle tug, she pulled the blanket up to her chin. So glad she had not gone to bed early. When the movie ended, she realized she was not the least bit sleepy and began to make a plan of what she still needed in order to complete the Cooper's Christmas present. "Good night," Lyzee said. She didn't wait for their response, her mind too focused on the rest of the tools she needed from the craft room. The cabinet next to the sewing machine opened with an exaggerated creak that made every hair on her arms stand on end. She pulled out the 30 blocks already stabilized from earlier, glad now she had hidden them there to save time. She measured twice before she cut. I'm sorry, I'm smiling because my dad, we used to cut wood with my dad, and he always said that, measure twice, cut once. Okay. She measured twice before she cut and sewed the strips along each block, making a border. The next thing was to lay them out in rows. She sunk to her knees, leaning her body forward, while her eyes scanned the sayings from Rory's favorite t-shirts. "Talk fast, life's short." "Samuel's Gate High School Tigers." "Love has no borders." "Albania mission trip." "Cheer squad." "Stranger Things Eggo waffles." And "Crimson Angels, West Tees Youth Girls." There were more, but Lyzee needed to get back to work. Convinced that she had picked the right project, she fed another row into the machine. Lyzee looked at the clock in disbelief. 2 a.m. already, she thought. She ripped out the last row of stitches and started over, determined to keep the line straight this time. A satisfied smile inched across Lyzee's lips as she held the quilt up for the final inspection. Suddenly aware of the need to close her weary eyes, she gave in to yet another yawn as she cleared scraps of fabric from the end of the daybed and snuggled beneath the warmth of a very new quilt. With memories of Rory so close, she drifted into a peaceful sleep. Bright sunlight invaded the room, waking Lyzee, and her foggy brain scrambled to dissect her thoughts. With her dreams still so vivid, Lyzee had clarity about God's will for this baby. She had not stopped thinking and praying after Peggy's visit yesterday, but now she had peace. As hard as it was, she would pick the family her baby would go to and stay connected privately through the agency. Semi-open, Peggy called it. At least she had something to put on the adoption plan. Okay. Well, that was a nice ending to that chapter. Now, the question for me is, are Rory's parents going to appreciate that she took all her old t-shirts and made a quilt? Some people would. Some people might be like, oh, don't touch the t-shirts. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right, you guys. I hope you have a blessed day, and I will see you next time.